Hey gents, today we're going to dive into my Omega Seamaster Commander's Watch Diver 300 after 6 months on the wrist. And oh, I'm just kidding, it's always on my wrist. So I've had this for 6 months. You can look back on my unboxing when I first talked about it, and actually went to the store and picked it up at the Omega Boutique here in Pittsburgh. But I wanted to go over the things I've realized after having this on my wrist for 6 months and just pontificate a little bit about the watch because I've been such a big fan of it. So make sure you subscribe, thumbs up, all that kind of stuff, and let me know any questions you have below. To give you the setup for this watch is basically always on my wrist. It is my daily wear. I sleep in it, I shower in it, I have run in it in the past, and I rarely take it off. It has a 48-hour power reserve, and I've only had to reset it twice. I do change it up on occasion for pairing with different outfits. I don't wear it in any formal events. I have a different watch for that. You can see my watch collection there. But for the most part, this thing is always on my wrist, and you can see that in some of the wear and tear. But I just want to go through and talk about what I love, what I don't love about the watch after having it on the wrist for 6 months, because I love to watch these videos, and you really see. So I think to start out with, this is the complete DNA of the 300 meter Seamaster line. I would highly suggest you check out TGV's video that he did on the Seamaster line, talking about the history of the line and everything associated with it. He deep dives into the complete history. I'll link to that below so you can check it out. But the Commander's Edition has all of the DNA of the original 300 meter Seamaster worn by Pierce Brosnan starting 20 years ago. It salutes the ensign colors of the British Royal Navy, as you can see, the red, blue, and the gray. And this is actually a little pin that it comes with. I haven't taken it out yet, but as you can see, it comes on the Nato strap and then has the steel as well, and we'll talk about the steel bracelet. And the reason behind that salute is that the Omega brand delivered more than 110,000 watches to Great Britain's military of defense in World War II, and so Commander Bond, being an officer of the British Royal Navy, would have been most likely wearing an Omega during that time, and so this salutes that heritage. So really what we have here is a white model with some modifications to the main 300 meter Seamaster. Has the incredible domed sapphire crystal, a perfect silhouette from the bezel straight over top. It has the polished and brushed lugs, as does the rest of the line. 20 millimeter lug width, and then the crown at 3 o'clock with the signed Omega seal, and then the helium escape valve up at the top. And you can see, looking at the outside case, there's like 2 scratches that I got on here. One on the side, this is from a door jamb, and then there's a small scratch on the scalloped edge of the bezel, which I remember exactly where that happened, against a concrete wall for whatever. A unidirectional ceramic bezel with the liquid metal insert for the numbers, and then there's a red rubber over on the first 15 minutes. Super smooth action on the die bezel, 120 clicks. As it being ceramic and liquid metal, it basically should never wear out or show much wear and tear, so it should look as good in 50 years as it does today. That will remain to be seen, but as of now, if you just wipe this down with a microfiber cloth, you can't even tell that it is 6 months old. Screw down crown, and then the action on the hands and the winding is so buttery smooth. You can see that it's hackable. We have the seconds hand stopping there, and then the date window you have over on the side. All of the numbers are in black except for the 7, which is in a red. So you do have a polished white ceramic dial on the inside. You have the Omega logo, and then the 3-hand design with the blued skeleton, hour, minutes, and then a red seconds hand with a 007 counterweight. What I've come to learn over the last 6 months is I'm not a huge fan of the skeleton dial. It has a good lume, and when you come in from the outdoors, it is incredibly bright. My problem with it is that when I wake up in the morning, it is so hard to read because the hands aren't solid, and the lume just doesn't stay as bright as I would like it to after 8 hours of sleep or being in the dark. What I've come to learn is that if I could have this watch with the Planet Ocean arrow hands, I think that would be the perfect watch. And I've actually looked into picking up a different hands for this in either the arrow hands or sword hands from one of the vintage models. I've considered doing that either on like a service visit or something else, but if I could have this model with those different hands, with maybe, I've seen some of the Planet Ocean hands that have the blue lume, I think that would make this the absolute perfect watch for me. You of course have the familiar link bracelet with the parallel tracks. There's a limited edition 5-stripe blue, red, and gray poly-made NATO strap. It comes with extra spring bars and a spring bar removal tool, and I've now realized that after having one of these very luxurious NATO straps, I think these are $150 if you buy them separately. The quality that you get out of the Omega brand when you look at these NATO straps versus, you can buy NATO straps for $10 or $20. I now see why people pay the upcharge for the straps. The quality of construction and just raw materials, you can tell why they are charging the extra premium. Of course, you're paying for a luxury brand. I also love to have the Omega logo on the stainless, on the clasp, and then also on one of these strap braces as well. Really a fan of the NATO strap, and I have come to shop for a few more of them in the past few months. And then in here you have the spring bar tool with extra spring bars. A nice sturdy aluminum spring bar tool included in the kit. And then on the stainless steel you have the nice big metal clasp. With here you have the 007 insignia, Omega Seamaster Professional, very solid sturdy action here. And then you have the extender if you want to extend this for your scuba gear. And you can see in here just how much I wear it. There's like dried soap and hard water stains on here. They actually come off if you scratch them a little bit, but because this has been my constant wear, I basically always have it on the steel. I've put it on the NATO a few times, but I always come back to the steel bracelet. So sturdy and solid. And this was actually one of the first negative things that I started to realize about the watch after having it for a few months. The 007 insignia on the clasp, I've come to love having it here. To me now, when I see the other Omega bracelets without it, they almost look like they're missing something. And so, to some that have the plain one, this might look like it's too much, but I really like having the 007 logo here. It reminds me of why I picked up this model. 007 means a lot to me in my personal life. But you can see at the different angles, I've heard it referred to as desk diving. There's a lot of abrasion on this stainless steel after a few months, and I'm not particularly careful with the watch. I wear it every day. I do dishes with it. I wear it on my desk, but I just didn't expect it to get this many scratches and scrapes on it. You can see on the center links as well as we go up the watch here on what would be the far side of my wrist. I'm not particularly babying this watch by any means, but it just got a little more scratches than I'd expect. I've now fully embraced the wear and tear that it comes with wearing a stainless steel watch every day. If I wanted something harder, I guess the Rolex 904 doesn't scratch as easily, but this isn't something I'm looking to flip or sell at any time, and so I'm just going to embrace the character that comes along with having it. But I actually went into the AD near me and asked, is this normal? And they said, yeah, stainless steel, it's going to get some scratches on it. And so that's really the first thing that I was like, I have some old Rolex and Tudor Oyster bracelets. I have a Seiko bracelet that I had for a while. I have a Luminox that's really sturdy. This is my favorite metal bracelet that I have. I love the fit and finish of the bracelet itself. It was just that scratching that was a little bit off-putting, but now I've embraced it. It is fairly easy to swap out the bracelets. You can see the spring bar openings here on the sides by the lugs. You do have to do a little maneuvering in order to get the spring bars out, but overall very doable, especially with the included spring bar tool. Powering the watch, we have the coaxial automatic chronometer 2507, which is decorated with the 9mm bullet design. Also matches the box out here. You can see that on the decorated movement. Commander's watch up top, limited edition 306 out of 7007. And I think this is just a completely gorgeous movement. I do take it off my wrist sometimes and just check it out. I've looked at why Rolex doesn't make see-through case backs, because I think it's just awesome to be able to see the heart that is operating these watches. And you can put a see-through case back if you want one, but some people just say that Rolex movements are great. Some people say that this is just more of a current fashion trend thing to show the sapphire case backs, but I really like seeing the movement. I really like having the 007 design on the back, and I've really fallen in love with this watch. For me, it wasn't so much a concern of the limited edition. That's a nice to have. I don't know that they'll ever sell 7,007 of these, but I think that's just a cool little extra on the watch. And then you can see within the lugs here just some dirt and grime. I should just clean that off. I'm not going to polish it, just clean it out with a little cloth very soon. And talk about falling in love with a watch. I now love listening to the movement while I fall asleep. So I put my arm under my pillow and I can hear the faint ticking of the movement as I fall asleep. And I'll put a little bit of a clip of it right here. My wife finds it very stressful to listen to it, so I definitely understand that sentiment, but for me, it's very comforting. And then this being the most current, most modern coaxial movement from Omega, at least until Basel World 2018 just happened. It does have 15,000 Gauss resistance from magnetism, and so you could basically expect that this isn't going to be affected by any normal magnets that you'd run into in the real world. Even I've looked at the Milgauss and I can't get exact ratings on that, but from my understanding, it's not going to be affected by any regular magnetism that you'd run into. Also, like hot showers, baths, that kind of stuff. I do everything in this watch. Hasn't been affected yet, and it is actually running at like less than +1 seconds per day. I've tested it a number of times with I use the app Tool Watch in order to test out the accuracy. I do it almost every week. It's just like a fun thing that I do. It's running extremely accurately, well within the cost guidelines of this being a chronometer, not even a master chronometer. And so very impressed with the coaxial movement, and I've now looked at picking up a coaxial model of the Speedmaster since having this, because I've really fallen in love with the fit and finish of the luxurious Omega brand. So overall, the things that I love about this watch, I love the fit and finish. I love the design. I'm a sucker for the red, white, and blue design. I've always been into white dials. Love the see-through case back. Love the styling. As I've learned more about the coaxial movement and being able to admire it in the see-through case back, it has really made me fall even deeper in love with mechanical movements. I do like how versatile it is. It's very sporty. I wear it with shorts and t-shirt. I wear it to the office in, business casual with sweaters and dress shirts. I can really wear it in any environment. I don't put it on the Nato strap as much as I probably could, but I just love the way that it looks on the Link bracelet. It's by no means my dress watch. I have a vintage 50s Omega bumper that serves that purpose, but for it being a tool watch, it looks just as good to me in a polo and shorts as it does at the office dressed up with a casual button down and that type of thing. It is slightly heavier and thicker than I would prefer. I know they've got to fit that coaxial movement into here, and it is a tool watch, it's a diver watch, it's not meant to be super slim. But if I'm designing my perfect watch, it's going to be a little bit thinner so it sits lower on the wrist. It's going to be a little bit lighter. I actually don't notice it even on the steel bracelet. I don't notice it after a while, and it's even less so when it's on the Nato strap, because there is a good bit of heft in the stainless steel bracelet. And I would change out these skeleton hands for something else. As I've now learned more about the Seamaster line and the Planet Ocean, I really like the Planet Ocean models. They're actually slightly thicker, I believe, than this model, so that wouldn't be where I'd want to head to, but it's the hands that I really like. I also would prefer an applied dial. This has I guess it's painted on a ceramic, but I would love to have an applied Omega dial with either arrow or sword hands, like some of the vintage Seamasters. And I know they use a very powerful lume, but I have Super Luminova on my Luminox diver, and that thing never loses its luminescence even when I wear it at night. And so if I could improve the lume a little bit, maybe I would change some of the indices. But really, if the only thing I could change are the skeleton hands into something else with the arrow, that would make this the perfect watch for me. And so I have loved having this watch for the past 6+ months and greatly look forward to rocking this for years to come. Next stop on my journey through watches, I'd really like something with a moon phase, and I've now kind of fallen into the world of Speedmasters with the moon phase. Now that I've had a diver, I realize what I think I really want is either a full chronograph or a dive chronograph, because I like the aspect of always wearing, not worrying about washing your hands, taking a shower, any of that kind of thing, but I really like to time things. I've used the bezel quite a bit in order to just, make markers and try and time things, but then I forget that I set it, so I'd love to have the daily ability of setting a timer and timing things. And I have a couple other chronographs that I'm able to do that with, but I am now I'm now an even larger fanboy of the Omega brand than when I first picked this up, and I don't know that will change for a while. So there you have it, gents. 6 months on the wrist with my Seamaster 300, and very pleased with this pickup. Looking forward to potentially more Omegas in the future. Thoughts, comments, queries, anything else down below. Like I said, check out that TGV video, and looking forward to seeing you in the next one, gents. Until next time, this is the Kavalier.